There comes a time in life when you realize something disturbing. The people around you don't evolve because they're afraid. Afraid to look within and find truths that shatter the comfortable fantasy they've built about themselves. And so they live trapped, repeating the same patterns, making the same mistakes, blaming the world while the answer has always been where they never wanted to look, inside themselves. Maybe you're feeling this now, this strange feeling that something needs to change, but no one taught you how. No one told you that building a truly strong mind requires you to dive into the depths of your psyche and face the monsters that live there. And Carl Jung knew this better than anyone. Jung was an explorer of the human depths. He delved into his own inner abyss, confronted his demons, and dialogued with the parts of himself that society teaches you to hide. And it was precisely because of this that he discovered the key to an unbreakable mind. It's not by running away from the darkness that you become stronger. It's by integrating it. But according to Jung, facing yourself is extremely challenging, and it's definitely not for those seeking comfort, nor for those who seek magic formulas or empty positive thoughts. It's for you who are tired of living half-heartedly, tired of being incomplete, who feel there's a more powerful version of yourself waiting to emerge. But that version only emerges when you stop running away and start facing the facts. So take a deep breath. What comes next will confront you, but it can also free you once and for all. Jung spoke about something most people pretend doesn't exist: the shadow. That part of you that holds everything you've rejected, repressed, denied, every anger you've swallowed, every desire you've called wrong, every inconvenient truth you've buried to be accepted. The shadow is the repository of what you didn't want to be, but it doesn't disappear. It grows, it accumulates, and the more you ignore it, the more power it gains over you. Think of the times you've exploded without understanding why, of the disproportionate reactions, in the patterns that repeat themselves even when you swear you'll change. This is the shadow at work. It doesn't ask permission. It invades your life at the most inopportune moments precisely because you refuse to look it in the eye, and overwhelms your thoughts. Most people live this way, dominated by internal forces they don't understand. They think they're in control, but they're merely obeying unconscious programming. They're puppets of their own unintegrated psyche. And Jung tells you a hard truth. You'll never be strong until you acknowledge and integrate your shadow. Integration doesn't mean blindly accepting everything. It means looking, understanding, removing the poison, and transforming that repressed energy into fuel. Because within your shadow lies a raw power that you've been wasting. A healthy aggressiveness that could make you defend your limits. A raw ambition that could motivate and drive you. A necessary selfishness that would prevent you from being trampled and made a fool of. But this requires courage. It requires you to go down alone, without an audience, without applause, and face what everyone taught you to hide. Because only you hold the key. And from this encounter, something changes. You stop projecting your anger onto others. You stop blaming the world. You stop being a victim. Because now you know who you truly are. And those who know their own darkness cannot be manipulated by it. This is the first pillar of an unbreakable mind. Radical self-knowledge. Not the romanticized and superficial version you sell on social media. The complete version, with light and darkness, two sides of the same coin. But Jung went further. He spoke about the process of individuation, the path to becoming who you truly are, not who you were told to be. And here's the problem. Society doesn't want individuals. It wants copies. It wants predictable, easy-to-control people who think the same, feel the same, and desire the same. Since childhood, you've been molded. Your family, your school, your religion, your culture, They all placed their expectations on you, and little by little you forgot who you were beneath all these layers. You grew up wearing many masks and didn't even know it. Jung called this your persona, the face you show the world to be accepted. And it's okay to use a persona. It's very useful and sometimes necessary. But the problem is when you believe it's you. When you spend your entire life playing an imposed role and forget that there's a real being suffocating beneath that mask. And so you become an empty shell walking around, following social protocols but dead inside. Individuation is the process of tearing away these masks, of asking yourself, what do I really think? What do I really feel? What do I really want? And most importantly, who would I be if no one were watching? So think, who would you be without these masks? You are not your profession, your degree, your clothes, your car, or your house. So reflect for a moment. Who are you? These questions are frightening because the answers can alienate you from others. They can make you realize you've wasted years living someone else's life. But it is precisely in this discomfort that true strength is born, that your own identity is born, your true authenticity. Because when you individuate yourself, when you become genuinely you, no one can break you. There is no criticism that can shake you because you no longer depend on other people's approval. There is no rejection that can destroy you because you are no longer begging for belonging. You simply are. And this authentic presence is the most threatening thing there is to a system that profits from your insecurity. Jung said that the greatest human achievement is not external success. It's finding yourself, the true core of your existence. That unshakable point that remains even when everything around you collapses. And reaching it requires traversing unknown territory. It requires facing internal chaos, accepting that you're not perfect, but you're not weak either. It's complex, it's contradictory, it's human. And being human is an incredible thing, but the system doesn't want you to know it. This path isn't linear, it's not comfortable. You'll doubt, you'll feel lost, and in the most difficult moments, you'll want to return to the illusion of security you once had. But if you retreat, you'll never know what you're capable of. You'll never understand the depth of your own power. And here's the part no one mentions. Building an unbreakable mind isolates you, even if only temporarily. Because the more you know yourself, the more you differentiate yourself. The more you integrate your shadow and individuate yourself, the less you tolerate superficiality. Empty conversations begin to drain you. People who live on autopilot start to bother you, not out of arrogance, not out of ego, but because you've woken up, and those who wake up can no longer pretend to be asleep. This doesn't mean you become cold or distant. It means you become selective. Your energy becomes too valuable to waste on those unwilling to look within. You stop trying to save those who don't want to be saved. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't want to understand. You stop exchanging your time for any nonsense. And you start walking with those few who also had the courage to descend into their own abyss. Jung experienced this firsthand. He was attacked. He was called crazy. But he kept going. Because he knew that psychological truth doesn't need external validation. It is validated through internal transformation. And those who undergo this transformation carry an unshakable certainty. The certainty of someone who has been to the bottom of their own psyche and come back more whole. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to stop running? Ready to look at your shadow without judgment? Ready to take off the masks and discover who you truly are when no one is dictating the rules? Because if the answer is yes, know that there is no going back. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you awaken, you can't go back to sleep. And that is the greatest reward. A mind that no one can break or manipulate. Not because it's rigid, but because it's deeply rooted in itself. Because it knows its own darkness and isn't afraid of it. Because it built its identity from the inside out, not from the outside in. So prepare yourself, because you'll make mistakes. You'll face nights where you doubt everything. But each time you get up, you'll be stronger. Remember, true strength isn't about never falling. It's about falling, staring into the abyss, and choosing to rise again anyway. If this video sparked strong reflections, leave a comment. And if you've made it this far, subscribe to the Awakened One channel, turn on notifications, and stay strong on your journey. Check out the other videos on the channel and get your daily dose of reflection. See you soon.